Assassin's Creed Shadows, the greatest, best-selling, fastest-growing, most players ever Ubisoft game ever. Or that's what the shells say. I personally like to just spew a couple of facts. For example, that the last Assassin's Creed cost 500 million and sold 20 million copies. This Assassin's Creed most likely is going to cost a million, minimum 600 million, and it has less currently sales than Dragon Age Veilguard that only costed somewhere between 400 and 500 million, which was an absolutely uneconomical disaster. So that's all I'm gonna say for my point. Why Assassin's Creed Shadows is a disaster.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so in today's video, I figured we would check out the Steam forums to see what is going on over there with the Assassin's Creed Shadows posts, because they're all over the place, right? You got
Success story, don't buy the game. But this one's better, okay?
people attacking the game. You got people defending the game. You got people trying to talk about the game only to end up getting attacked or defended.
Why is this considered woke again? I don't know, maybe because, some black dude is impregnating the Japanese royal line? I don't know, maybe it has something to do with that.
It is nonsense what's happening over there at the forums, but this is nothing new. Every time a controversial game comes out, just like with Dragon Age the Veilguard, it was the same exact thing. People who are wanting to shill for the game are going to shill, and people who are going to want to call out the nonsense with the game is going to call out the nonsense, and it's just a battleground of ideology.
But one side is obviously, though, severely more right.
So let's get into this video, guys. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. Now, there has been an ungodly amount of cope that is happening right now on the Assassin's Creed Shadows forums, and not even just the forums, but obviously the mainstream, media. I've been covering.
You know what? I'm gonna say one positive thing about Assassin's Creed. At least we have moved past the, well, if you don't like it, don't buy it argument. At least that's no longer a thing that's being spouted. Technically, that has nothing to do with Assassin's Creed in general, but hey, that's probably the most positive aspect about this game.
This for a few days now, where they are literally lying to people. They're trying to tell everybody that there has been over 2 million copies sold of this video game, and there has not been a single post of 1 million copies sold, let alone 2 million copies sold. They're trying to take the 2 million.
Again, I think currently the game is at roughly 600, maybe 700k copies sold, tops. 800 would be absolutely beyond impossible, kind of at this point. And yeah, by the end of the year, it's probably gonna maybe sell 1 million copies. It's insanity. And, well, actually, I'm probably gonna... Since it shills, I'm probably gonna have to talk about it later, so let's keep going.
Million players engage metric, and they're trying to utilize that as sales, and they're trying to say, well, it's digital and physical sales. It's not. They're completely and utterly lying to you, and they have no proof. And then when you ask them for proof, they never provide it to you. But that's besides the point. It is very interesting. Check out this particular post that I thought was hilarious. It's time to admit it. The Chuds have won. The only people coping right now are the ones that were screaming this game would be a failure. Oh, clown emoji. This person saying, 100%. Is this Endymion? I could barely tell. Actually, the Chuds lost and moved the goalposts. I don't understand where people are getting that the goalpost was moved, right? I don't understand. We've always said that the game was going to sell pretty decently compared to average games. For an Assassin's Creed game, this game was going to flop.
Just for the record, I have never said that. I have been never of this opinion, okay? I literally never compare almost AAA games and sales numbers to indie developer. Okay, if an indie sells AAA numbers, that's amazing. But it kind of happened. AAA is in its own category. Again, the argument that, oh, did you actually know when we put all the games together in one pile, the average game sells only 10 copies? So Assassin's Creed selling 5 copies is actually really good? No, that's a fucking dumb argument. No. I'm not even gonna... Yeah, most indie games don't sell a lot of copies, but that's not an excuse for a AAA title like this. One of the most anticipated things in gaming, honestly, because it's, again, Assassin's Creed Japan has been begged by Assassin's Creed fans for literally 10 years at this point plus. And, well, they failed. But yeah, no, you can't compare a A game sale to indie developer sales and then say, "Oh, look at that! It's a big fish in a small pond, and then it's doing good." No, stop that. That's being that's being intellectually dishonest.
Majorly, they're trying to spin the narrative and say, well, the game is doing better than every other game that's ever released on Steam, not even realizing that Odyssey came out in 2019. You're comparing yourself to a 5 to 6 year older game and saying, well, look, we beat it by 2,000 concurrent players. Go us. We are clearly doing well in 2025. It's an absolute fucking joke. And then on top of that, most of the people playing this game are playing on Ubisoft Plus, which is why they went
Didn't we check Odyssey yesterday? Wasn't Odyssey like still below?
with 2 million.
Because this is what the shills constantly try to sell. Oh, it's the best Steam release ever for an Assassin's Creed title. Yes, and it's all the first ever Assassin's Creed release that is at the same time on the Ubi launcher and Steam at the same time. Because always they, pretty much always they, well, literally always they have launched the Ubisoft client first and then Steam after a couple of years or maybe weeks.
Players engaged and not 2 million units sold. This is why they use certain terminology, because you're going to have idiots like this that are just going to eat up whatever they say. Then it says that the game is a flop. Don't be fooled by numbers of players and that sort of thing. If they had already sold just 1 million copies, they would have said so. But they keep talking about millions of players and don't say a word about sales. By the way, whoever tries Ubisoft Plus for 5 minutes is already a player. Whoever buys the game.
Yes, this is what I was going to mention previously, but this is true. I tweeted this, by the way. I personally think that these gaming companies, because go woke, go broke is a real thing, obviously, are gonna start using Netflix metrics for games, okay? Previously it was sales, now it's players. When 4 hours into the release, Ubisoft is already giving out literal free fucking codes for people, which is hilarious, and that's definitely not a sign of collapse. That's that sort of stuff, and yeah, it's just pitiful, is it not? I think most people can recognize that this is easily pitiful, and we don't like it, and we don't like people who try to gaslight us with this bullshit. Soon, game success will be measured in seconds played. It's just gonna be dumb.
Plays it for 1 hour and returns it is also a player. Whoever hasn't bought the game and pays a subscription is also a player. Can they just show how many copies they sold? No. Why? Because this is a bigger flop than Veilguard if we go by the number of concurrent players on Steam. In fact, according to VGI, Assassin's Creed Shadows has sold around 230,000 units on Steam. That's a pittance for a game that costs $250 to $300 million to make. These are facts. The rest are fantasies and marketing fools of half-truths. Dude, this guy is a fucking legend. And he got 4 clown emojis, which is hilarious, by the way. People are coping over just straight up facts. Now, if you go to SteamDB's page over here, the game is cooked, right? It's not growing anymore. It had its weekend opportunity. This is the number that it's ending at. 64,825 as of Sunday. What an estimate.
Yeah, I called it. We looked at the graph and I said, yeah, this is, if this gets 70k, it's going to be a miracle. If it gets 80k, that's just flat out impossible. So, below 70k is the expectancy. 60 should have probably been the minimum. It got 60 and a half, which means it's exactly there in the middle, which is still horrible. It's horrible, without a doubt.
A copy sold of anywhere between 111,000 to 380,000, and most of the time these metrics are always higher than they actually are. I say this all the time for every single game. It dropped to number 3 in the top sellers list right now.
Wait, what? I didn't know this is a thing. I never scroll. Oh my. I had no idea this is a thing. I never scrolled down this far. What do you mean? Which stats? That's wild. Owner estimates. Yeah, that's 600k, exactly as I estimate. by Play Tracker by VG Insights. What the hell? Game Analytics. What the hell are these things? Wow.
It's got almost 8,000 positive reviews and almost 2,000 negative reviews for an 81% ratio. Now, the quite simple thing is that the reviews really are usually generally positive. Let's be real. Even if you look at Dragon Age: The Veilguard, the review.
Yeah, we talked about this. Hypnotic, this is your chance to show me that you have learned my masteries of explaining this shit. Go.
Reviews were generally positive. They don't really mean anything at the end of the day because people are going to curate their reviews over at Steam. We've seen them doing this over and over and over again. Look, even Dragon Age: The Veilguard has an almost.
You blew it. Back to the coca fucking fields with you. Okay, listen. The reason why these the reason why Dragon Veil's initial launch was like, again, 90% positive, 80% positive on Steam. Because these games that are plagued with negativity from the community because they're woke disasters quite clearly and obviously, most normal people will not play them. And a lot of people who are... The actual modern audience is gonna play them. And the modern audience is gonna come in and they're gonna be like, best thing ever, 0.0 negative 3 seconds played. Okay? They're gonna buy it, they're gonna review because that's just how they do things. And over time, we saw this with Dragon Age, we saw this with Starfield, there are so many examples of this. Over time, people who play Dragon Age: The Veilguard, people who buy it now, are people who have no idea any of this drama happened. The same with Starfield. People who buy that game now have no idea who Bethesda is, what Starfield is, that there was even a giant kerfuffle about this. And those people are normal people, and they just play it, and they're, this is shit. Dislike. That's it. And this is why those likes slowly vanish over time, because normal people start buying it who don't care, and they actually leave reviews because normal people actually do that. Because normal people want to be helpful to others, so they leave reviews, and they they press negative reviews on this game so other people don't buy them. And this is gonna happen also with Assassin's Creed Shadows. In a month, the reviews are gonna be below 70% probably. It always happens. That's how life works.
70% positive review ratio. Doesn't matter. And this game had 90,000 players. 90,000 players concurrently 4 months ago. It did better than Assassin's Creed Shadows. That's how fucking ridiculous this is. But at the end of the day, dude, Dragon Age: The Veilguard absolutely flopped. BioWare's studio, the Edmonton studio, had to get shut down, essentially. Most of the people got fired. And whoever didn't get fired basically got moved to some other place within EA. It says, well, besides 2 million players, it didn't reach 3 million yet, I guess. The game isn't really selling or getting high amount of players like the first 2 days. Then this person says, doesn't make sense to me. When I look at PS5 games sold on Amazon in Japan, it's number 5. That's maybe not what Ubisoft was hoping for in a best case scenario, but pulling it out of the store doesn't make sense either. That is, if it's even true, most things the chuds say is made up anyway. Really? Is that the case? You know what's funny?
This game was out of the top 50 for Xbox's most played games. Day 1, it didn't even reach the top 10 position. It was like rank 20 or something. It is hilariously bad.
People try to use the top XYZ whatever metric on these stores as a means of success. But the funny thing is, if you were to really look, especially PlayStation Store, if you were to really look and see the numbers and the games that are in the top sellers list, you'll realize that the majority of players are usually playing the top 3 games, right? Whatever those top 3 games are.
No, that was not my point. That's a different point, but valid point. The thing about the top metrics is, these games try to launch when there's nothing there. Assassin's Creed Shadows did that. It launched when there was literally no competition, no other big game title was releasing. And even then, day 2, it was already behind Counter-Strike Counter-Strike Go. Hilariously stupid, by the way, obviously. And yeah, that's just how these things work. Being a top seller when there's literally nothing selling is not impressive.
That's normally what they're playing. And 4 to 6 is drastically different from 1 to 3. Amazon works in the same exact fashion, where the first 1 or 2, products are usually the ones that are selling the most, and then everything else tends to follow afterwards.
True.
The person says, Darren says, this game is fine. All these Chud Proud Boys types are just professional YouTube drama farmers, cashing in on clicks with from fragile ego type male.
Hey, he's right about that. I am cashing in, boys, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
Sitting at home, girlfriendless and in their underwear watching their.
This is called actually putting in the fucking effort to cash in, okay? And then these people are like, oh, look at these people trying to achieve something. Look at this guy trying to grow a YouTube audience. How stupid. Look at this dude probably not having a job. Look at this dude probably living in squalid. Look at this dude probably living in shit. How about you fucking get off your ass and try doing something for once in the life, loser?
Your channels. That sounds like massive level of projection. Wow. I mean, it's amazing how much these people try to project on other people who ideologically disagree with them. I think it's actually kind of funny, to be honest with you. And also, too, it just seems as if you guys are so angry over YouTubers who are having differences of opinion about a video game, right? You'll realize that there are a lot of YouTubers out there that are very positive and negative about the game. You're going to have people talking about the pros. You're going to have people talking about the cons. I think any proper reviewer should be able to talk about pros and cons of any video game. Even if they don't agree with some of the stuff that's in the game, it shouldn't matter. Then if you look, it says, thank you for demonstrating the point of the person you replied to. It's good to have an example at hand. Then if you go to the next page, I'm telling you, these Steam forums are filled with absolute nonsense. The question is, why did the Japanese have this racist anti-Japanese game on their shelves in the first place? I know white people are promoting anti-white media every chance they get, but I thought the Japanese would have more self-respect than whites. Well, quite frankly, they're going to sell the game no matter what. They have the means to do so. I'm honestly surprised that the Japanese did not consider outright censoring this game or banning this game or whatever, but I feel like at this point, they've said their piece and they're going to essentially move on at this point.
Oh, by the way, they can't really just... It would be kind of awkward if Japan actually... It's a political thing. It's kind of awkward if they just ban, like, a thing from their Steam store. That's really strange.
And then you got this amazing post right here that I thought was awesome.
Wokeness will never die.
Wokeness will never die. I love this one. Here we go. Men, women, white, Asian, black, straight, LGBTQ, religious, atheist, right-wing, left-wing, etc. Video game developers are diverse now, and so are gamers. The industry is only getting more diverse. When was it not diverse? See, this is the narrative that they try to sell you.
Actually, in the good old days, it was pretty non-diverse. It was just white dudes making games they want to play. I have to say, it was pretty fucking good.
That the video games industry was not diverse. The video games industry was all white men. All of it. All of it was white men. That is not true in the slightest. There was a multitude of women. There was a multitude of non-white people. There were...
yes, but majority was like 95% white dude.
In the gaming industry in the past and that are in the gaming industry now, it is no different. The only difference is that now there is a superficial push for this fake diversity on screen for everybody to think that they're doing something when all they're doing is doing the same thing that's always been done in the past, right? It's always been diverse. It's never not been diverse. And if you don't believe me, go check out Laura Fryer's videos on YouTube. The Gears of War director. She actually has videos from old school time. Like I'm talking like 15, 20 years ago, where she was in the gaming industry. She shows her younger self on video and how she's leading a team of diverse people on a fucking team. This is a woman leading a game developer studio, right? She was literally one of the leaders.
Yeah, but that was previously. Again, she got there because of Merit, the crazy thing that doesn't exist nowadays.
In the studio, and she's a woman, and she was talking to Asian men, black men, white men, Hispanic men. If you look at the video, you'll see diversity everywhere. And she has so many videos showcasing this. And it's obvious that the diversity was always there. It's the people who just discovered that non-white people existed now for some reason that are trying to pretend as if they were the first ones to discover it. It's like, bro, what are you doing? Gaming will never go back to the good old days when it was just a boys' club. Never was. Never was. Obviously, the majority of people that played it were men, but men loved it when women joined in on their hobby.
True.
Fortunately for them, they didn't realize that they were going to turn it into a fucking bullshit activist-filled nonsense, but they still loved it, right? If you go to any...
Hey, gatekeeping was designed for a purpose, and that purpose is Pretty good.
nerd guy right now, and you're a woman, and you talk to him about his hobbies. What do you think he's gonna fucking love it?
Well, he's probably gonna get a heart attack, but that's fine.
Most likely. The best thing is that they're to be games that target specific markets and games that target a general audience. Actually, that's how things are. Yet some gamers want the entire industry to just cater to their taste. That's weak, if you ask me. It's childish to throw tantrums
It's not catering to our tastes or whatever. Our tastes are the tastes of literally 99.9% of the people playing these games. The people who would buy your games. Doesn't matter male, female, black, white, or whatever the fuck. It is still the opinion of of us people who are gonna buy it and make it successful. 99.9% of us think like this. This is just gaslighting. Anyway, dude, the shills. Okay, soon this is probably gonna end. The shills are gonna stop at some point again. We're probably like a week away from Ubisoft saying, well, this is shit, we're dead. And then there's gonna be these random spats of the developers coming out and saying racism and I'm gay and shit. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great, boys. Trust. Anyway, that was Hypnotic 10 out of 10. Bye.